share. There we go. Tea out for me. Damn, that shit is hot. Camaraderie is very important. Incredibly important to have. The company you keep is essential to your growth. There's a terminology that I heard a while ago, and it really stuck with me, and it really helps whenever it comes to deciding who I spend the most time around. And it's the idea or concept that iron sharpens iron. So if you're around an individual that isn't of a strong caliber, right, they're not going to do much to sharpen you. They're not going to do much to aid in your growth at all. And a lot of the times we tend to surround ourselves with individuals that we're outgrowing, and that's what stagnates our growth. You need to be around the types of individuals that are on a similar path to you, where you guys are always growing together. And if that's not the case, then you need to learn to distance yourself from these people. It's nothing personal at the end of the day, but it is personal. Because this is your life. You only have one life to live. You only have one shot at this that we know of. The only measurement that you have is time. And that time is really dependent on your life. There's no in between. The time is going to continue to exist without you, but your time is solely dependent on your lifespan. So you can't afford to waste your life around individuals that aren't on the same path as you, or on individuals that are realistically bringing you down towards whatever it is that you're trying to achieve with this life that you do have. Now, if you look at like a perfect example of this, whether you hate them or love them, is the Tate brothers. The Tate brothers have such a strong camaraderie. You can't break them apart. There's nothing that you can do to break those two men apart. They're constantly working and improving. And since they're in that same environment, that same ecosystem, it does nothing but constantly help each other elevate. It's healthy competition. You need to have some type of brotherhood. You need to have some type of sisterhood. You need to have people around you that are going to hold you accountable. People around you that are going to really push you to become a better version of yourself. People around you that are really going to aid you in your growth, whether that's physically, spiritually, financially, or just mentally. Whatever aspect it may be, you need people around you that are going to guide you. That's why mentors are also so important. You need to be around individuals that have achieved more than you, or individuals that have the ability to supersede you at any moment, because this is going to keep you in a state of constant elevation and growth. You know, you have to also keep in mind, how do you view your comrades? How do you view your friends? What is your perception of them? Are you always upset about things that they're doing? Do you find yourself being the babysitter? Are you always running around? Maybe that's not the friend for you. That's not the person for you. At the end of the day, a friend or a comrade should not be somebody that you're constantly babysitting, somebody that you're constantly having to pick up. There's nothing wrong with having a good confidant, having somebody that you could really come to when you're at your low points, but there's no reason why you should be babysitting another individual. At the end of the day, you have yourself to look after. You can't afford to also babysit a whole nother human that refuses to do the work, that refuses to progress or get better. If you know you want to accomplish a certain amount of things, then you need to align yourself with individuals that are on a similar path. It doesn't mean that you guys have to be doing the same exact thing, but you have to have the same energy. There's times where my brother comes and we sit down and we do nothing but work. We sit down and he'll be doing his thing, he'll be trading, and I'll be doing my thing. I'll be working on my clothing brand. I'll be making content ideas. I'll be studying. I'll be reading. It's just that ecosystem of growth. It's the reason why people go to libraries to study, or they go to gyms to work out. Once you enter that environment and you're surrounded by other individuals that are on the same path, that energy does something to you. It sparks a fire within you. It keeps you going. That's why fighting gyms are so important as well. You're going to a gym full of a bunch of other individuals with a similar interest, that you're feeding off that energy. You feed off that energy. Have you ever noticed you walk into certain rooms and the vibe is just terrible? You don't want to be in that room for whatever reason, or you walk into a certain room after being in a good mood, everybody's on some shit, and now you're in a bad mood too. Now you're popping shit too. This goes with women too. This goes with the women you deal with. This goes with the partner you deal with. Camaraderie runs deep. If you're with a woman that's gonna put you in a risky situation, you're gonna get snuffed as a man. You're gonna get put in a lot of tricky, risky, life risking situations as a man. Because you're dealing with somebody that isn't on the same page as you. I've seen it time and time again. You know how many people have literally gotten lined or killed because they chose the wrong partner or because they chose the wrong friend? You have to choose your friends wisely. And you cannot be afraid to be a villain. You cannot be afraid to be an asshole in people's eyes. You cannot be friends with everyone. You can't. You could be kind towards everyone. You should be. But not everyone deserves the title that is your friend or your brother or your sister. Not everyone is deserving of that title. Keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to walk alone. At times, you're better off being by yourself than to be surrounded by individuals that are not on the same path as you, or surrounded by individuals that are only going to diminish or bring your value down. You are better off staying home alone than you are going out with those same group of friends that you know whenever you go out with, you end up spending hella money, you get super fucking drunk, you're hungover the next day, you end up having sex with some girl you didn't even want to sleep with, or some girl that you regretted sleeping with, or whatever the case may be. You wake up with all these regrets whenever you hang around these people, yet time and time again you still choose to because you're scared to be alone. If you cannot find good camaraderie, you're better off staying alone until good camaraderie comes your way. Build yourself up, learn to be sure of yourself, so that way you don't feel the need to be surrounded by all these individuals. The larger your circle is, the larger your friend group is, the more likely it is that you're surrounded by a bunch of individuals that aren't on shit. It's just more likely than not. And I'll leave you with this too. The more that you find yourself fiending to be surrounded by other people constantly, the more out of touch you are with yourself.